Finally, our new house was ready, and I could hardly contain my excitement about starting this new chapter. But then, out of nowhere, my in-laws arrived. "We'll be moving in here," they declared. "Please ask your parents to vacate the premises." Stunned, I looked to my husband for support, but he just took a deep breath and said, "Do as they've asked. Please inform your parents gently." Without another word, my in-laws began unloading their belongings. As they eagerly explored their new home, I couldn't help but ask, "Do you even realize whose house this is?" "My name is Nina. I'm 35 and have been happily married to my husband Matt for 3 years. We don't have children yet, but our life together is full of love. Lately, I've been worried about my aging parents. Their mobility has been declining, and it's been on my mind. So, I proposed to Matt that we move in with them. He was completely on board, saying, 'Living with your parents is no problem. It'll allow us to take care of them, and you'll have peace of mind. It's a win-win situation.'" "Thank you, Matt," I said, overwhelmed with gratitude for having such a considerate husband. We began making plans to live together, but executing this idea right away proved challenging. My family home is quite far from the city, which complicates our work commute. Neither of us can drive, making it impractical to live there. Moving my parents to the city isn't feasible either. Our current rental is small, suitable for 2, but cramped for 4, and adding a child would only make it worse. It seemed like there were no easy solutions. Then it hit me, why don't we take a bold step and build a spacious new house? When I shared the idea with Matt, his face brightened. "That's a fantastic idea. A new spacious home would be perfect for all of us." With his enthusiasm, we began planning our new house. When I told my parents, they initially felt guilty about us building a home for them. However, after I explained our reasoning, they understood and were thrilled. Their happiness was a balm to my heart. Later, my husband and I went to a real estate agency to finalize the details. We explored locations close to hospitals for my parents' health and near train stations for easier commuting. We also carefully discussed the specifics of the house. Although I sought input from my parents, they seemed reluctant about moving in with us. Fortunately, my husband had many valuable suggestions, which made the planning process much smoother. Gradually, our vision for the dream home began to take shape, and the prospect was thrilling. After much discussion and research online, we finalized the plans for our new house and were ready to consult with builders. "We're nearly there with the preparations," I said. "Building the house has turned out to be more challenging than I expected." My husband commented, "Balancing this with work makes progress slow, doesn't it?" We invested a lot of time into our plans, but the results were immensely satisfying. The blueprint for the house, which we meticulously crafted, far exceeded our expectations. We consulted with various real estate agents and conducted thorough online research to reach this point. Now, all that's left is to eagerly await the completion of the house. It will take some time, but the excitement and anticipation are boundless. However, as the project progressed, my in-laws started reaching out more frequently. "Dear, we heard you're building a new house. Is that right?" "Yes, that's correct. We're aiming to finish it by the end of the year." "How wonderful. I'm so impressed with Matt's efforts. To keep us updated with all the details. We'll visit you soon." "Okay, sure," I replied. Surprised by my mother-in-law's enthusiasm, my husband and I decided to visit their house over the weekend. They welcomed us with warm smiles. Building a brand new home is such a joyous event. Just thinking about it is exciting, isn't it? My father-in-law said, almost as if he were reminiscing about his own experiences. "Yes, we're very excited. We're hoping the construction goes smoothly and finishes quickly so we can move into the new house as soon as possible." We all shared a laugh. It's definitely an exciting topic. By the way, would you like to see the blueprints? Following my mother-in-law's request, my husband pulled out his phone to show them the design he had photographed. "Oh, it's quite spacious," she observed. "And so many rooms." "Yes, well, we'll be living with my parents, so we needed the extra space," I explained. "Wait, you're all moving in together." Both of my in-laws looked at my husband in disbelief. "So, you two are going to live with Nina's parents?" "Yes," my husband replied. "Since my parents are getting older, we suggested living together, which led us to decide to build a new house." "Really? I see. Moving in together." Their tone shifted noticeably, hinting at their discomfort. To shift the focus, I attempted to change the subject. "How have you both been? How's your health?" "We're doing well. No major changes, just the usual routine. But tell us more about the new house. Which room will your parents be using?" Well, we're currently planning for this room, my husband explained, pointing to the blueprint. He seemed unaware of the subtle shift in mood, but I could see that their expressions grew tense when they learned my parents would be moving in. It might feel as if my parents were receiving special treatment. I felt a twinge of guilt but hoped they would understand our decision given my parents' situation. However, it was clear they were struggling to accept it. The construction of our home was progressing smoothly, and each visit revealed how close it was to completion. As my husband often said, I was caught between the eagerness to move in quickly and the desire for everything to be perfect. My parents visited midway through the construction and were thrilled with the progress, which made me feel grateful to be able to provide this for them. However, I was concerned that my husband had been visiting his parents almost every weekend lately. Are you planning to visit your parents again this weekend? Yeah, I am, he replied. You've been visiting them quite frequently since the start of the year, I noted. I want to show my appreciation to them as well. That's why I've been making an effort to visit them on my days off. I understand. Matt, you're so considerate. Should I come along? I asked, concerned that his parents might feel disappointed. Perhaps they had hoped to live with us, and I thought visiting them might be a good gesture of goodwill. But my husband reassured me, it's all right, I can manage it on my own, and he left for his parents' home. I decided to honor his choice and promised to support him as needed. Time passed quickly, and our new house was finally ready. On moving day, we loaded the car with boxes and headed to our new home, brimming with excitement. When we arrived and saw the house, I was so overwhelmed that I couldn't help but exclaim, "Wow, our new home." It marked the start of a new chapter. I began envisioning our life there, cooking while watching my husband and our future child playing in the yard or enjoying a family barbecue. These thoughts only fueled my excitement further. My parents, who were set to move in with us, called to let us know they'd be delayed due to traffic. They told us to go ahead and start settling in, but I said, "We'll wait for you," intending to share the same with my husband. To our surprise, my husband's parents showed up unexpectedly. I was stunned and stared at their car in disbelief. Why are they here? I wondered as they stepped out of the car, smiles wide, and walked towards us. Look at this magnificent house. It's impressive enough to show off to our friends, they said. Yes, it's the house that Matt and I carefully planned, I responded. Nina, you have excellent taste, my mother-in-law added. Well, I suppose I can give her credit for that, I said, thank you. To my surprise, they began unloading the considerable amount of luggage from their car. Startled, I quickly asked, Mother-in-law, father-in-law, why do you have so much stuff? What are you planning to do? Their reply was equally unexpected. What do you mean? We're moving our things into this house. What? You're planning to live here starting today? You'll need to ask your parents to leave, they said. What? Why are you doing this? I asked in disbelief. With a hint of frustration, my mother-in-law explained, as a new bride, it's customary to prioritize your husband's family. We should be the ones moving into the new house. Once you understand that, please let your parents know we're busy moving our things. Feeling overwhelmed, I turned to my husband for support. He took a deep breath and said, do as she says, just let your parents know gently. But this house was intended for me and my parents. I can't accept this decision, I protested. He responded with visible irritation. Didn't my mom just say that it's natural for a wife to prioritize her husband's family? We can address your parents' situation later. I was in disbelief. It was clear that my husband was either heavily influenced by his parents or had always shared their perspective, which was now more evident than ever. Come on, help with the moving, he said. With that, my in-laws began unloading their belongings, even though neither my parents nor I had entered the house yet. They proceeded without permission. Oh, how wonderful. The interior is just splendid, they exclaimed, eagerly exploring the house. I confronted them. Do you know whose house this is? What? They responded, momentarily taken aback. After a brief pause, they turned to face me. Whose house? Of course, it's Matt's house. Are you suggesting you have a claim to it? Since you and Matt are living here and he's put so much into building this house, you have no right to make any claims without letting me explain first. My in-laws seemed to have jumped to conclusions and were blaming me. It appeared my husband hadn't shared details about our finances with them. Why would your parents live in Matt's house in the first place? They questioned. Yes, it's strange. Poor Matt, having such a demanding wife and parents, they added. I was at my breaking point. Why was I being criticized for their misunderstandings? If you intend to live here, then Matt should compensate for the amount spent, I said. I've contributed to this house, I said. My in-laws stared at me in disbelief. How much are you claiming to have paid? It must be a small amount, maybe $800, they mocked. My husband, looking uncomfortable, said nothing. I turned to him, challenging, "Are you being honest? How high and mighty do you think you are?" He hesitated. "What are you insinuating?" My mother-in-law demanded, her tone authoritative. Seeing that my husband was unwilling to address the issue, I decided to clarify things myself. "I pay for this house entirely with my savings. If you plan to live here, I expect repayment of $355,000 for the cost of the house." My in-laws were stunned, their mouths agape and eyes wide. They turned to my husband for confirmation. "Matt, is this true? Did Nina really buy this house?" they asked. My husband nodded slightly. "Yes, Nina bought the house. She got a promotion quickly and now earns more than I do. But you've been working for a long time as well. And you graduated from a prestigious university. Shouldn't you be earning a decent salary too?" "Well, I made a significant mistake at work. I can't get promoted and even had a pay cut. Now I'm earning as much as a new employee," my husband admitted. When he revealed this, my in-laws were at a loss for words. We never imagined Matt would be in such a situation. After a moment of silence, their attitude shifted entirely. They began apologizing to me. "Nina, we're truly sorry for our earlier comments. We misunderstood everything. Please forgive us and let us stay in this house." "What?" They continued to apologize profusely, and my husband bowed deeply. "Please, it's my fault for not telling you sooner. Let us stay here with you." I was completely taken aback by their words and actions. "No matter how much you plead, I can't accept this. I built this house to live with my parents. If that's not possible, there's no point in having this house. If you want to live here, you'll need to pay me $355,000. "We don't have that kind of money," they replied. "Then it seems you'll need to find somewhere else to go." "Wait, we sold our previous home and moved out. If we're evicted from here, we have nowhere else to go. Nina, please let us stay. Your parents can live with us too." What are they thinking? Living under one roof with a couple and both sets of parents is unmanageable. I can't agree to that. If you sold your house, you must have some funds left. Why not use that to find a flat? Hearing this, tears welled up in my in-laws' eyes. The truth is, we lost a significant amount in a bad investment. The money from selling our house and our retirement savings went toward paying off that debt. We have nothing left. I'm retired, and my wife has been a housewife for years, so she can't work at this age. You're our only hope. Despite the heartfelt plea, the situation was a result of their own financial mistakes. If you need help, shouldn't you be asking your son for support? "I'm not in a position to support strangers," I replied. "Why not? Aren't we family too?" they asked. "That's too much to ask. Can't you at least help us a little?" they pleaded. "It's impossible. I can't even fathom living with someone whose family is trying to take over our home. Matt, let's get a divorce." "What? Wait a minute. I can't even think about a divorce. I'm sorry, but I can't forgive this. Please leave right now." When I mentioned divorce, my husband panicked. My in-laws continued to plead, but I had already lost any willingness to forgive them. "If you plan to stay here, I'll call the police," I warned, causing my in-laws to flee in fear. My husband, dismayed, protested, "I'm still your husband. I should have the right to stay here." "If you insist, I'll take legal action," I replied. His demeanor changed instantly. Understanding that a lawsuit could cost him his job, he quickly gathered his belongings and left. Shortly after he departed, my parents arrived. They were confused by his absence but were shocked when I explained the situation. They thanked me, saying, "Thank you for standing up for us." I wish my husband had been more understanding, but I'm relieved to have distanced myself from such a selfish in-law family before our child was born. The divorce process proceeded smoothly, and I became single again. Now, I enjoyed peaceful days in our newly built house with my parents.